Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Moscova Media Podcast. I appreciate you all for sticking with us. We are back once again with a new episode. We're on our first season with SAG-AFTRA, though, so that's pretty big, and we're really excited about that. Shout out to Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA for allowing my company to sign up our podcast with SAG-AFTRA. Now, this is a organization that has been around for a while now, and it's pretty much an honor to be able to produce content under their banner. So I really want to thank SAG-AFTRA for the opportunity. Because that's been a goal of mine to join that organization. Yet it could be kind of tough to get into position to be part of it. Yet luckily they allow those that are looking to join to do it through new media contracts. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. We will be continuing to deliver amazing content and have amazing guests on from all over. Yet without the amazing fans and followers and listeners from all over the globe, there wouldn't be a point to this. So I want to thank you all seriously for supporting the show and downloading the episodes and really spreading the word about the show, sharing it to your social media pages, texting people episodes from iTunes to Blog Talk to Spotify. So it's really something that I take to heart, and I'm very thankful for. There's people all the way in India. I've had some fans shout me out from India. So shout out to that country with 3 billion plus people over there. So shout out to them. Thank you so much for y'all support, specifically my Indian people. But we do have followers from all over the world, especially in different parts of Africa, where podcasting is becoming more and more popular, as well as radio shows. So shout out to the people in the Ivory Coast, Ghana, West Africa, Zimbabwe, all over Also want to shout out my homies in East Asia and South Asia, as well as the epic proportions of listeners, como estas in Latin America. Also, bonjour, sagafet, to all my Haitians, Creole-speaking, French-speaking people. Nula, not fe quizá no café. Just here speaking some Creole. But again, I just want to thank everybody. I appreciate y'all. And thank you also to the companies that were able to send me some products, such as One More, which makes amazing audio, headphones, and different speakers like that, as well as IK Multimedia, which is a great company that makes all types of microphones to gear for artists and producers. So shout out to them. I really thank you for that, as well as Sabinatech, that also makes audio products. So I really want to thank any sponsors that support me, my company, my show, and my brand, because I am here for you to use my platform to really push their their brand. So I'm just thankful. We have over 18,000 downloads thus far, and let's get another 1 million downloads. My fans, if you really want to get even greater content, really push the shows. We're on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. Again, I want to thank the sponsors. I want to thank SAG-AFTRA for supporting and believing in us. And I'm going to continue to deliver as I see fit and as I'm capable. So thank you really much. Before I know, without you guys, it'd be a little bit tougher, a little bit less fun, but you make it more worthwhile to really provide all these amazing tips. And as you guys know, on here, I'm always professing self-help and self-awareness and different ideas like that. So if you guys need any resources, be sure to DM me, and I'll definitely be able to send some resources out there. Instagram is instagram.com/vmascova, and let's get it on and popping over there. Yet today, besides making all you guys aware of the new SAG-AFTRA deal, I actually have on board an amazing actor who's been part of SAG-AFTRA for many years as an actor, performer, just great talent, able to do so much, whether it comes from voiceover to acting in different movies. This man basically can, do it all as far as making sure that he can project what the writer is trying to project on screen. This man has, quote-unquote, mastered that. So I want you guys to Google Andy Milder right now. Go on YouTube. You'll see a bunch of his clips because he's an amazing American actor and voice actor, and has appeared in such films as Apollo 13, to Armageddon, to Rumor Has It, and Domino. He was a series regular on Fame L.A. and appeared on such shows as Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, 6 Feet Under, Ugly Betty, and Boston Legal. Andy has also provided narration for Ballroom Bootcamp, 101, Most Starlicious Make-Overs, and Rex the Riches. And his voice can be found on commercials for Mucinex and Pepperidge Farm, Goldfish. And he's also provided the voice of Lightning Lad in 2006 animated series Legend of Superheroes. And this man is a series regular on Weeds as Dean Hodes. Well, Andy Wilder moved to Santa Monica, California at a young age, and then went on to University of California, Berkeley, where he majored in economics before studying at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. And Wilder lives in Manhattan Beach with his wife, Dr. Betty Lee. So be sure to go to Google and look him up and go to check out his amazing work. But after you do go to YouTube, why not go on Netflix or wherever platform you can find and look up some of these movies that he was in and definitely check them out and share them on all these amazing shows to see what I'm talking about. Now, this man takes his time to attend classes so that he can help others that want to get into acting or voiceover, whether it be comedy or drama. And he takes his time every week to help my other professor or teacher, whatever you want to call them. They're like professors to me. He provides amazing, not only commentary, but just like overall insight on how to make things better. And when he can do it, he does it. And when he can't, but he'll let you know either way. So that's why it's an honor to really have him here today on this, my humble little podcast, and that's growing amazingly. Hi.
Thank you, Vickens, very much.
Are you there? Oh, it's a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
The pleasure's mine, Vickens. It's nice to see you or talk to you here in this different forum.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been creating a podcast for years now. Yet I was able to really, take it onto a new platform as far as not only getting in other countries, but getting on SAG-AFTRA to make this worthwhile for my guests that come on, potentially providing a voucher and whatnot. But we actually met through class, and I was able to go on YouTube and different platforms to check out some of your acting, and I was pretty much blown away.
You're very nice.
In class, it's one thing, but to see what you speak about and in action, it's another. You're able to really capture what the writer is writing and put it on screen so that we as viewers can really understand what's being portrayed, and you're basically a master at that. I noticed you actually started in economics, though, which is business. What made you, want to switch to acting? Was it seeing somebody great that you wanted to emulate, or it was always something that you wanted to do?
So I had always wanted to become an actor. That was always a thought of mine. And my parents, who were divorced when I was a kid, both told me, and funnily enough, they told it to me separately. I thought they'd spoken to each other, but I guess they hadn't. They both said to me, listen, if you go to school and you do well and you get a legitimate, quote-unquote, legitimate degree in something that we think is legitimate, then we'll pretty much leave you alone. If you want to try to do whatever it is you want to try to do with your life, it'll always make us feel more comfortable to know that you have a quote-unquote legitimate degree that you can fall back on. And so when I was in college, I thought, maybe I'll be a lawyer. That was always a consideration. But so I majored in economics, thinking, maybe I'll be a lawyer. And I was kind of miserable not acting, and then I started acting again in college and really loved it. And I had debated, Vickens, between I just didn't know which path I was going to take, and I'd thought about being a lawyer. It sounded interesting to me. And I'd taken the LSAT, and I'd prepped for it. I took a prep test for it, a class, I should say, and I had there was one section I knew I could always get right. And on the test day, I choked. And back then, you could turn in a letter that said, hey, don't score me, and I'll take another test. And I wrote that letter out, and I was ready to mail it, and I stood in front of the post office in Berkeley, California, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be an actor, I should rip this up and walk away. And if I want to try to be a lawyer, I need to mail this. And I stood in front of that post office for about an hour and a half, and I ripped up the letter and walked away and never looked back.
Well, that's pretty inspiring because a lot of people tend to make that choice, but aren't always successful, whether, depending on what success looks to them. Now, you've been a working actor for a number of years now. I've spoken to a couple of people that have that have made that transition. But, many of them had, like, resources in place, whether it be, a school or a acting coach to latch on to. You're already in California, so you're already living there. How were you able to did you just start going to classes and then you eventually got a manager?
The first thing I did was get into classes. So right after I graduated Berkeley, and as you said, that was a degree in economics. I enjoyed economics. It was fun. And I did theater at Berkeley, but I didn't major or minor in it. So for the summer, right after I graduated, I went to the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. And then after that summer program, I moved down to L.A. and found classes. And I took a bunch of classes. Charles Nelson Riley was a teacher of mine. He was a great teacher. Probably my favorite teacher was a guy named Larry Moss. You and I have discussed Larry Moss in class. He wrote a book called Intent to Live, which I think is a dynamite book on acting and should probably be read by everybody who wants to be an actor anyway. And I lucked into finding an agent. My brother had tried to be an actor. Hadn't worked out well for him, but he had a friend who was an agent, and she said, well, Andy, I tell you what, I won't take you as a client yet because you're brand new and you're just moved out here, but I'll send you out on a couple of things and let's just see what happens. And one of those things was a pilot for a TV show of The Revenge of the Nerds that Fox was going to do. And I tested for it, which meant that they had to draw up contracts, and it was down to me and the guy who got it, a guy named Robbie Rist, good actor, good guy, was on the Brady Bunch, a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, it came down to he and me, but as soon as I had to sign contracts, the agency signed me. So I was kind of very fortunate. I was on my way a little bit, and I had an agent, and that was the first thing I needed. And then, by the way, I still took classes in other things. I took classes in voiceover training. I took classes in commercial acting, and all of those led to other hookups with agents and that sort of a thing. So you really can't work in L.A. without an agent, and I was very lucky. I got mine rather quickly.
Yeah, that's amazing. So many people bypass some of these certain steps or don't see the importance of them and are, really trying to figure it out. Without getting too personal, how were you able to actually afford all these classes? Did you start working using your economics degree and then use that? Because that's something people have issues with.
Yeah, of course. Well, I had a little bit of money because, unfortunately, my sophomore year of college, my father passed away. And he had left me a little bit of money. Not a ton, but a little bit. And so I had a little bit of money there, but really I just got a job. I mean, the first thing I did when I moved to L.A. was I got a job, and it was telemarketing. It was nothing great and exciting. At least I wasn't calling people. I was calling businesses. But, it wasn't a great paying job, but it was enough for me to live on and afford a few classes on. And so that's what I did. As I think about it, actually, my dad did leave me money, but I wasn't allowed to touch it until I was 25. I forgot. He had put it into a bank account with a trust on it, so I couldn't touch it until I was 25. So I did touch it after that, but I wasn't able to when I forgot all about that. So it was off that job. That was the only way I could do it. I put my nose to the grindstone and I took a job. And then, I was very lucky within the first couple of years. I only worked there for about 2 years. I'd booked some commercials and some other stuff, and I was able to make a living acting. So, I mean, really since like 1992, knock on wood, I've been making a living as an actor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nowadays, people have the ability to get jobs that are way more schedule friendly. whether they do like a Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or something to make that extra cash. And, you know, they too can start looking for different classes all over, especially during these times where everything's on Zoom. So 92, it definitely wasn't exactly easier, you know, for you back then, but you still made it happen and figured out, even in times where, you know, losing that guiding spirit over your, or guiding person over your life, and they become spirit. So to be able to withstand that and stay strong and focused, you know, is definitely something that's pretty cool and amazing that others can learn from as well. And also, you know, the lesson that you put in there that really helps people, you know, when people transition, creating some sort of trust and, you know, providing money to, you know, the next generation by creating it in this generation, if that's what one wants to do. Either that, or you go to the state, and that still helps others. But that's something that, you know, especially coming, you know, as a person of melanation or color, we usually don't see the importance in something like life insurance or trust. But because your father made that smart decision and choice, and when something out of his control happened, he was still able to keep control even in the afterlife and make sure that, you know, his children or family could figure out a way to move forward by creating resources.
It was very helpful to know that if I really needed it, I had some money that I could use. I mean, you know, obviously it was really helpful at the time. And again, it wasn't, I'm not going to lie and tell you it was like millions of dollars. It certainly wasn't. It was not that much, but it was enough that I knew that if I really came into hard times, I could access it and help myself out. And I was very fortunate. I really didn't need to access it much. Mostly because I got lucky. I started booking jobs and working as an actor, and that was very fortunate.
Right. It's just funny because trusts are like new news in certain communities, but that's pretty good, like you said. As far as acting, what are some things you noticed that, you know, even maybe a new student or people you've been with a while, or even seasoned actors, that you see, like, you know what, they definitely need to be in a class, or whoever's teaching them is teaching them that wrong, where there be some methods on acting or things you notice when people try to prepare. What are some things wrong that you feel that people can improve on if they really want to be an actor or voiceover actor?
It's kind of hard to answer the question the way you phrased it, I think, Vickens. So let me say this. I think every actor, especially starting out, should be taking acting classes. I don't care how good they are. I think they should be taking acting classes. And the reason I say that is there's always something to learn in an acting class. There's always something to learn in an acting class. And whether that be a new technique, whether that be a way of accessing emotion or feeling inside yourself that you weren't aware of before, there's always something to learn. And frankly, if I'm going to be honest, yeah, I think probably all actors through their life should be taking a class in one form or another. I can't tell you that I've done that. I did take classes for a long time, and then when I started working a little more consistently, I stopped, and I stopped mostly because I ran out of time. You know, I was working enough at the time that I just didn't have a lot of time for it, and then I got lazy and didn't continue. Having said that, I still have been working with friends of mine, and that is not dissimilar, I think, in many ways to taking an acting class. They help me with auditions. I help them with auditions. So that's similar, and these are working actors who have been doing this for, you know, decades. So there's that. But I think that everybody should be taking an acting class. I don't care whose it is. And the actual answer is, when I say I don't care whose it is, if you're not getting something out of that acting class, if you don't feel like that acting class is feeding you and you're getting something from it, get out. You know, it's not the right class for you. There's a million acting classes out there. Find the one that works for you, and go with it. And you know, you mentioned earlier that Jeff and I teach an acting class. That's Jeff Blake, and he. What I like about that, frankly, is last week he and I got into a huge argument teaching the class about things, and that's what makes it exciting and interesting to me, because he has a very different way of approaching work, and I have a very different way of approaching work, and that's what the students should be getting. They should be getting a different way of approaching, whether it be from one teacher or two, about how to approach material, how to analyze text, how to get the most out of it and give a great performance.
Definitely. And you know, that's definitely what makes attending your class amazing. How we're able to get two seasoned actors that aren't really, you know, trying to be the same, or you know, they're open to different ideas. And sometimes you agree many times, and sometimes you don't. And we all, as students, get way more out of that, like you say. Just, you know, having those different perspectives in one place that can speak to each other and help us figure it out. You know, so class has definitely been almost therapeutic for me, especially during these times of COVID where people haven't been able to network the same. Yet you guys have been pretty amazing to allow us to be working with you. Now you've been in such cool, amazing movies. What were some of your favorite parts in movies, or your favorite movies that you, or TV shows or voiceover commercials that you worked on?
Geez. Well, Jeff and I met on Apollo 13, and I met a bunch of really great guys on that show. So I have to put that as one of my favorite experiences. It was my first big movie, to be honest with you. I'd been in a couple of, you know, smaller films, didn't quite do as well in the box office, but Apollo was great for a lot of reasons. Ron Howard is an amazing director, and just a genuinely nice guy. He gives off that vibe. You know, people are like, is he really that nice? Yeah, he really is. He's great. And I met Jeff there, so that would have to be one of them. Certainly Weeds was a lot of fun. Golly, I had a lot of fun on that show. They put my character through several different types of hell, and that was just fun to play and a good time. I had a fun time on Criminal Minds. It was one of the most difficult jobs I've ever done, but I really enjoyed that. I don't know. Vickens, there's always something to be found and gained and enjoyed from almost every experience. I do say almost because certainly there's that one or two where you're like, God, this stinks. But generally, I don't know. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed most of the jobs I've done.
That's amazing. Now, if we could get our law of attraction on, what type of projects or jobs, you know, are you really looking to do in the future, or you would hope to do, or hopes, you know, would be created for you to start working on, whether it be voiceover or, you know, a different TV show series that you can, you know, get a position on?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now the most interesting work that's being done is television. That's not to say that movies stink or anything. I think TV has finally figured out that it can make, excuse me, goodness, it can make a long form program. You know, you look at shows like I don't know, Fargo, where he does it by season, so maybe that's not the best example, but you get a 9 hours of entertainment with character development throughout. You know, in a movie, you only get 2 at the most, or 2.5, you know. So I think TV kind of is where it's at right now. And, you know, I like what I do, Vickens. I don't necessarily have a dream job anymore. I really just like doing what I do. So my answer is I'd love to find a series to land onto and just try to explore that character, explore what the writers are giving me. figure out how to play it as honestly and truthfully as I can, and both show the character's growth and grow with the character. I think that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Especially with shows that are doing not as long as a Fargo with seasons, but the different Marvel series like Loki and WandaVision that came out to help develop those characters away from, the already 3+ hour long Marvel movies that didn't really have too much character development. So that's a small
too many
example.
characters,
Yeah.
Sorry, I
so
didn't interrupt you. It's just too many.
Oh, no, you're good. A recent Hollywood movie producer I've seen post a story on like US Today or something, said that movies are pretty much dead in Hollywood, and he stated a number of reasons. But I noticed, people are able to are kind of able to create movies, whether it be an iPhone or a Canon camera, on their own, and kind of put it out on different platforms themselves. And then also I've heard that big movie studios like Marvel are going to cease the long multi-movie contracts, especially with the Robert Downey Jr. thing. I think he wanted a lot more money because he developed Iron Man into such an amazing character and really catapulted those movies. Do you feel that, and you just mentioned TV shows, do you feel that the movie industry is on its way out with people now being able to watch, have the option to watch movies at home, or how do you feel that's going?
I don't think it's on the way out, Vickens. I mean, I think it's changing. I think it's evolving. I do think if things continue the way they have been, like you say, with people being able to watch these movies at home, I think that will cause real trouble for the theater chains, and especially smaller mom-and-pop theaters, which is a shame. I don't think the movie-going experience is what it used to be. My whole goal every week as a kid was to go watch a movie. I couldn't wait to go to a theater with a crowd and watch a movie. And I think now that we can stream and download and all that sort of thing, I don't know. I don't think people are as interested in that. I think you've got great seats at home. I don't think it'll go away quite yet. I still think that there is some interest in it, and it's always cool to see a movie on a screen that's way bigger than anything you could own. So that's cool. And, it's also cool being in a space that is completely dark and sharing that experience with others. I still enjoy that. I think it's great. But I do think the movie industry's running into trouble. I mean, it used to be the dominant medium of Hollywood, and I think it is no longer. I think television is now that medium. So we'll see, what happens. I don't think movies are dead. I certainly don't. I don't think they'll stop making them anytime soon. I still think they're a viable medium, but I don't think they're going to be quite as dominant as they were. Especially, I know they aren't, because they aren't already. Television has taken over and done a very good job of it. I mean, look at, we wouldn't be watching all this television if it weren't interesting. But they've made it very interesting, whether it be Marvel or there's a bunch. I'm trying to think. There's a great French series that I watched not that long ago called The Bureau, which was fabulous. I mean, people are just making interesting, good television, and part of the reason why they're using the tricks from the movies. They're being smart. They're making intelligent, highly developed characters and plots, and they're counting on the intelligence of the audience as opposed to some of the earlier TV where they went for the lowest common denominator and assumed that everyone was dumb, and so that's how they went for it. Now they're tending to go with smarter, more intelligent stuff, and I think that's smart. I think that's good.
Right, especially with all the data that people are, companies are able to intake from, things like Netflix and really get interesting demographical information to provide what people would want to even watch. So technology definitely has a part in that. And most recently, as actors, we've had to, because of COVID, we had to start mostly self-taping at home and kind of creating a mini studio at home to provide these self-tapes to casting directors and producers or whatnot. And then also now people are kind of like using apps like TikTok, Instagram, continuing to use Twitter to create their own kind of series and maybe TV shows or comedic shows or whatnot, and really creating followings on their own.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. So as an actor, do you feel like the next transition is to now we have to actually start creating our own content, or will we still be able to?
Well, I think that happened in the 90s. I think that in the 90s that became the thing. And what I mean by that is, no, we didn't have TikTok, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have those things yet. But what was happening in the 90s was people were starting to do one-man shows. People were starting to put up comedy things that in theaters that were getting picked up by places like HBO. I'm thinking about Mr. Show. And the truth is, Vickens, the bad thing about Hollywood, one of the many bad things about Hollywood, is that if you're an actor, such as myself, you kind of have to wait around until there's a role, and then you have to audition for it. And then even if you're the best actor for it, there might be a reason why they're not going to hire you. I don't like the way you look. You're too tall. You're too short. You're too old. You're too fat. You're too skinny. And there's a million reasons you won't get it. But if you create your own content and you put yourself in it, there's always going to be a need for you in that, because it's yours, you created it, and if it takes off, it's great. So my answer is yes, you should. I think everyone should be trying to create their own stuff. It's not easy to do, and it requires a lot of effort and a lot of work and a lot of nose to the grindstone. But I do think that the best way to make sure that you are working, whether it be for financial gain or just for your own soul's satisfaction, is to create and perform your own work.
Right, definitely. Because you definitely have more control over it. And somehow, some way, I was able to figure out that I've actually been creating my own work through these podcasts, and was able to sign up with SAG, which is a goal. Yeah, you have to get in a commercial.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, Vickens.
Yeah, I don't know how I was able to figure that out, but thank God for Clubhouse and just me, trying to think based off of what I'm hearing. And I've told groups of Haitian actors and different actors if they wanted to participate in helping in any way. But some things you just gotta figure out on your own. But not to get off topic, and you definitely don't have to get into this if you don't want to or can't. But real quick, I was actually a couple weeks ago, or a couple days or weeks ago now, I was on a date with a female I met off, I guess, Facebook, I think it was. And it was all right. I was a little bit catfished, I'm not going to lie. But, I'm not official. But anyway, I tried to stick through it. And eventually, sometime during the conversation, she happens, I guess, to see some of my Instagram and starts talking to me about acting. And I didn't mind talking about it yet, but I wasn't there for that, and she wasn't an actor. But she started talking about, crazy things she's heard about Hollywood, and I guess through YouTube or different stuff like that, as far as different groups of people that she started mentioning blood sacrifice, to be specific. And me myself, even before these classes, I've worked around different celebrities and with them, and been around their families. And one thing I did notice is, like, most of these people, they're actually really nice. Like, you can tell someone's vibe if they're an asshole, if they're a narcissist. But because I was able just to observe them and talk to them, and whether it be like an LL Cool J or I've been around many people, the LES twins, Raven Simone, Angela Simmons, so I have connections to these people, whether it be through their management. But one thing I've noticed, most of the time they're actually nice, giving people. They just happen to have a lot of people that look at them. And no one has ever, for the most part, has ever tried to do anything weird around me or to me. Yet in the modeling, when I've done modeling, I have come across weird people that have wanted to do different things. But as I've gone around the world and worked around different people, I've noticed you can find bad apples anywhere, or people that do. Yeah, that's
exactly it.
Yeah, so I'm
Go ahead, sorry, Vic.
But yeah, so that's pretty much what I was trying to explain to her. And I'm like, you know what? There may be some people that do crazy things over in quote unquote Hollywood, but there's probably someone crazier right on your block that's doing something way worse. Yet, unfortunately, no one can really know about it or sees about it till it's either too late or something crazy happens. So that's
if I may chime in, Vickens.
Go ahead.
This whole blood sacrifice thing has become kind of popular in culture nowadays. I'll tell you this: the blood sacrifice concept goes back centuries. It was used to vilify different groups of people. Jews were told that were blood sacrificed. In fact, the Jews have a holiday called Passover, and part of the reason they for Passover tend to invite strangers or people they don't know very well to come to their Passover house, apparently, is because they wanted to show this is just we're just sitting down and eating a dinner. There's nothing, because they were accused of putting, I think it was child's blood in matzah, which of course is just water and flour. This whole child sacrifice or child's blood and all this stuff, it's just a way to get people to be submissive to another group of people. If I say to you, I know that these people are doing blood sacrifice, instantly you look to me as a source of information and knowledge, if you believe me. And even though that's a complete and total lie, and then I can hook you into other lies, and then eventually you trust me and you don't trust, the real news, and that's what winds up happening. I'll tell you this, Vickens. Not only are you right when you say there are crazy people everywhere, I've met some real jerks in Hollywood. I've met some really wonderfully nice people in Hollywood. And even the jerks, even the worst people I've met, like really awful people as far as I'm concerned, there's no blood sacrifice. There's none of this. Could they be doing something completely horrible in their house? Yeah, they could be, but I just don't believe that anybody really is doing this crazy nonsense. I think it's just an attempt, like I say, to control people, to get them to believe something and be enraged and be infuriated, because I would be, certainly, if there really were people doing these horrible things to children or to, I'd be furious. I'd want to stop it immediately. But it's not happening, at least on a broad scale in Hollywood or frankly anywhere that I'm aware of. And so I think it's just she's buying the bull. She's drinking the Kool-Aid. She's bought the snake oil. She's buying the bull, and she just wants to be mad about something. And it's a good thing to be mad about if it were true, but it's not. It's not true.
Right. Angela Simmons, almost every time she's doing something for the children, the holiday toy drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, someone's of a negative spirit. Why would they actually do these positive things? And then I talked to her about me. Right. And then I talked to her about me actually growing up in a Haitian household and learning about our history and seeing some things that we do. I'm like, you know what? Haitians sacrifice chickens if need be during a quote unquote voodoo ceremony or whatever. So like, are we like, or do you hate me now, or like, am I vilified because I've witnessed or part of these things? It's like, but that's voodoo is just a different form of a religion. We could go to a Catholic, they might do something like that, or Islamic or wherever. So I just try to help people understand these things, but it's just weird to me, and I'm thankful that you were able to answer that in such a great way.
I hope it was. I'm never quite sure if I'm doing justice to what I mean, but I'm glad you seem to get something from it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, because I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me.
No,
especially with that actually worked in Hollywood, quote unquote Hollywood, for so many years. We probably would have been doing something crazy like that in class. But like I said, there's bad apples everywhere. It could be in anything.
Yeah.
But it's
now,
not.
by the way, if she had said to you, "I've heard these Hollywood types do drugs," yeah, no, that's true. I've seen people do drugs. Not all of them, but I've certainly seen that. And that's bad behavior, and it's like, okay, I get it. But, I mean, come on. This whole nonsense about drinking kids' bloods to stay young and stuff. Come on. It's just so stupid. It's so ridiculous. And like I say, they've been using this lie for thousands of years to gain control over people. And it's time that we said, stop it. Stop. It's a lie. Come on.
Right.
Makes me bummed out, Vickens. Just bums me out when I hear stuff like that. It's just so sad. And I'm sure this girl, or woman, I should say, believed it. And again, if I understand her outrage, but there should be part of her. We should be teaching everyone in America to go, wait a minute. That's ridiculous. You've ever heard of Occam's razor, which says the idea behind Occam's razor is the simplest explanation is usually the most correct explanation. But people here in the United States don't like that. They want to go for the most convoluted, furthest, craziest explanation. And that usually includes stuff like blood sacrifice or I don't know, all sorts of crazy nonsense. And it's just not the case. It's just not the case.
Right. And this is now, and we actually are in like the age of Aquarius, where everything's coming to light, and then nothing's really being hidden. Especially, and it's obvious with all these cameras and phone cameras and security cameras. It's a lot easier with technology to catch people these days. It seems like. So it's also easier to separate from certain people that don't want to really hear truth and want to stick in their kind of like dream world, rather than try to figure out how we actually can work in this new world or whatnot. So I'm just thankful that I'm able to get the truth and see for myself from amazing people like you, that continue to just live life and do the best that they can with the choices that I guess they're presented with, as we all should.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it, Vickens. I'm totally with you on that. Look, you keep spouting the truth, which is great, and I hope you're able to do that forever, man. I love that, but I also it does scare me a little bit that we enter this era of social media, and in some ways it feels like we're going back to the Dark Ages, where people are willing to believe, people are afraid of science. People are afraid of all sorts of things that it just scares me. I'm just scared. I hope that we are able to regain our sanity as a collective whole and move forward in the way that we should, in a wonderfully progressive and loving way. And that's all I want. That's all I'm hoping for. Acceptance, love, and forgiveness.
Definitely, because no one's perfect on this planet. If we were, it would not be going the way it is now, where it has the ability to scare people based on the majority acting based off of their feelings a lot. But the truth will continue to be shed in this age as well. So nothing really much to be afraid of if we continue to work in light and do the best that we can, as far as, being positive spirits and forces. So I'm not really just scared about that. It's just, as individuals, we have to really figure it out one by one, because no one can really force another person to understand or know the truth or whatever. People kind of have to get it for themselves and experience, and that's what people are able to.
That's very true.
And that's what people are able to not do these days, because we're always on our phones or distracted with something else, and not able to really think and really understand these ideas that may matriculate through our brains. But I really could probably speak to you all day, and I have to get back in a class so we could work and speak from there. But I just really wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out and scheduling with me to stop by this podcast as we continue to grow and build, and really shedding light on some weird, dark spots. Hopefully we can.
Vickens, it's my pleasure, man. It's my pleasure. Jeff and I, neither of us consider ourselves acting teachers. We consider ourselves actors who run a class, But it's great having you in there. We really like. We've discussed about it, having you in the class. We really like having you in the class. You add a really interesting, different take, because you're your own man and you own that, and it's fun having you in class. So I hope to see you back there soon.
Will do, sir. Thank you so much. And again, where can people find you if they want to look you up for your stuff or book you or whatnot?
AndyMilder.com. 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 And our class, if anyone is interested, is I believe just got it under the Working Actors. Oh heck! Now I'm going to blow it. I should have had this on my agenda. Do you know, Vickens? It's the Working Actors.
Let me Google it real quick.
Shame on me.
WorkingActorsStudio.org, actually, .org. WorkingActorsStudio.org. Jeffrey Lake's Working Studio. And again, that's an amazing class.
Thank you.
No doubt, anytime. So yeah, definitely go to AndyMilder.com, WorkingActorsStudio.org, and let's make it happen, people. Thank you again, Andy, for coming on, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Vickens.
All right. And there you have it, guys. We had an amazing guest, Andy Milder. Thank you for stopping by and listening. We dropped some amazing tips and insight for all you amazing people out there, not just actors, because this stuff can translate into other aspects of life. So even if you're not an actor, check out that class, and it may help you just gain confidence to do that corporate job or wherever you may be, so you can be a better actor there. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we have to put on a different face so we can do what we got to do, get those dollars. But definitely check out those sites and see about maybe attending a Zoom class or auditing the class or whatnot, and really providing your side and your perspective. So again, thank you for all the amazing listeners. Thank you to SAG-AFTRA for allowing me to sign up my company and set up my company to do this. Thankfully, I had one since 2014, and I really wanted to do something like this for a while, and the ability to do it is just pretty dope. So thank you so much, my amazing listeners, for stopping by and listening to me just build and grow. If you keep studying and learning, you can really figure out what you want to do in life too. And everything is possible. If you need any help, definitely follow me on Instagram.com/VMoscova. or go to my website, muscovaenterprises.com, and let's really get it on and popping. You know, I really, really appreciate you all for just, you know, providing value and allowing me to provide value. So I don't take that lightly, and I really appreciate it. And I thank God every day for the ability to do these things and to really network and grow. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a really, really great rest of your week, and we will have a new episode soon, hopefully with Jeff Blake from the Working Actors Studio.org. And if not, I do have some ideas for some other shows in between that. So thank you. Thank you so much. Know that there's another person around the world that has your back, and that will help support you in any way that I can. And thank you so just for downloading, sharing with your friends, because I could see the stats. I'm not just saying this to say this. I see y'all where you're at, and the people that, you know, the country that makes the biggest impact, I'm definitely going to continue to shout you out and provide content specifically for you. So thank y'all, and we is out here. All right, yeah. Thank y'all. Love y'all.